This program is sponsored by BPL Happy Little Things.
Warship of Royal Navy of United Kingdom HMS Richmond anchored in Goa recently to participate in a joint military exercise with Indian Navy. HMS Richmond is a Type 23 frigate of Royal Navy. HMS Richmond was though launched on 6 April 1993, but it is time to time updated and modernized as per the requirement.
Thank you very much for coming on board. My name's Lieutenant Tom Horn. I'm the flight observer on board. So part of the job that I conduct on board is flying the Wildcat helicopter, which we have behind us. So our Wildcat helicopter is an anti-surface warfare helicopter. So predominantly our job is to fly out, go long range and try and locate enemy shipping. We then use our radar and our cameras and all the rest of the sensors on board in order to try and identify any vessels and report them back in. A number of other roles we have on board. We have a winch on the side for search and rescue and life-saving at sea, and we also have the capability to carry weapons as well. So we have the Stingray torpedo, the Martlet missile and the Sea Venom missile.
So one missile can be used using this helicopter?
Correct, yes. So the missiles that we've got, the Martlet is a lightweight missile that's for use against fast attack craft, lightweight rocket, and then we also have Sea Venom, which is a heavy variant. That's used predominantly against ships up to corvette size, and then can be used in conjunction to target larger vessels such as frigates and aircraft carriers.
Was it ever used?
So not yet, no. Fortunately, we've not had any hostilities that the Wildcat helicopters been involved in, and therefore we're here on board as part of the Carrier Strike Group, going around the world to the Far East into the Indian Ocean in order to just conduct British operations aboard. So inside the helicopter we have a pilot and an observer, myself. The pilot sits in the right seat there with the controls to fly the aircraft, and then myself, I sit on the far side to conduct navigation, operate the sensors and all the weapon systems on board, as well as communication.
It is not only equipped to head on any enemy in warlike situation, but it is also handy to take on rescue and search missions.
We have the winch fitted on board here, so if we ever need to go out and respond to any distress calls, or if there's anybody in the water that needs rescuing, we can use this in order to pull them out of the water. We also have the option of load lifting, so if there's a disaster relief that's required, a lot of operations that we've done in the past have been in the Caribbean, we can load lift water, food, supplies, equipment from sea onto land in order to help provide assistance to local governments.
So how crew is divided in a rescue operation and if you have to combat some hostile situation?
Yes, so in normal operation it would just be the two of us in the front, the pilot and myself, and we can operate the aircraft from there using all the weapon systems up front. If we have to convert to conducting life-saving operations, we also have a winchman on board who is cross-trained as an engineer. They would come in the back of the aircraft with myself, so then the pilot would be on his own in the front and the two of us in the back operating the winch and rescuing personnel from the water.
So what is this area all about?
Okay, so this is where we have our C-Scepter silo. So inside there is a silo 2 decks deep of our missile system. The C-Scepter missile is a common anti-air missile module, and it provides self-defence for HMS Richmond and also defence of protected assets out to about just shy of 30 miles. So whereas HMS Defender or HMS Diamond in the Carrier Strike Group task group, they're the main area air defenders, Richmond can perform a little of that function, and we did indeed do that in the Eastern Med. So yeah, that's our C-Scepter silo.
So here we can see it is written Air Escape Sea Intel Box. What is this?
That just allows air to escape from below decks compartments, so you don't have a build-up of air pressure below.
Okay, this is a technical.
Just a technical part. You know, ships are fitted with miles and miles of pipe work and cables to keep systems, either physical systems or information systems, functioning how they're meant to be, and Richmond's no different. Certainly in HMS Queen Elizabeth, she's fitted with a fibre optic system where you can actually blow new fibre optic paths around the ship to provide different capabilities. We haven't got that in Richmond, but it's the type of equipment that will be fitted in future ships such as the Type 26 or 31. 2 weapon engineers on board, engineering technician Stadius and engineering technician Jordan, and they're stood here to give a short speech, if you like, on the 4.5-inch medium caliber gun. So the gun itself can be used for 2 main roles. Naval gunfire support, so that's where the ship's on a gun line firing over the heads of our forces onto land to attack an enemy position, or surface gunnery, which is us against another surface unit at sea. And there are other minor uses for this capability, such as warning shots if you need to, although if you're firing warning shots with this weapon, you've exhausted other options such as the small arms or the 30mm gun on the side. Guys, do you want to tell us a little bit about what you know about the medium caliber gun?
Yeah, okay, so as mentioned, this is one of the rounds for the medium caliber gun. This one here specifically is a ram round. Each one of the shells weighs roughly 45 kilograms. When fired, it splits into 2 separate sections. So this section would be the one that is actually leaving the barrel to travel to the target, and this section here comes out the front end of the port side of the gun through the ejection chute, which I'll show you in just a second. So we've got 4 different types of shells on board with us at the moment, which is HE, star shell, ram rounds and drill rounds.
The HE is
high explosive.
High explosive, so that's your
and
normal.
star shell is the illumination, so flares.
Yeah, shall we have a look inside the back of the gun?
So it is for warning also, and it can be used for combat also.
Yeah.
Yeah, mainly combat.
Mainly combat.
If
Yeah.
you're using this gun for a warning shot, then, like I say, you know, it's a pretty big warning shot.
Down here is where the round comes up from down below in the magazines. We've got a loading system down there that can hold 18 shells at a time, and they're auto fed up into the system. This is the loading arm here, the yellow arm. Comes up to this point, the round gets pushed into the breech there, and the breech block drops down. It's got an electronic firing pin rather than a percussion firing pin to fire the shells. The reason for that is the gun's moving around, it stops any accidental discharge of the round. As this one here, once the round has been fired, will flick round and the casing will come out of the gun, goes round this side and then get pushed out the front at the front end, which I'll show you in a second. The round will then have gone off, this one will come back down, it'll grab another round and it'll repeat until it runs out of ammunition, effectively.
So how do you set the target?
The target is set from down below in the ops room. There's a camera up on the top, which is used for pointing at the target if it's in line of sight. If not, we can do it based off coordinates. So as the coordinates are put in, the gun will train onto its specific direction as required, and elevation as well, calculations are made. And then the round will travel to that point.
So it is mostly automatic or it is manually used?
All the target range calculations are automated, but most of the loading down below, all the loading down below is manual. here you can see you've got the barrel of the 45 gun. This is where the round will be ejected from after firing. At the end, next to the actual turret itself, the silver bit is part of the chase, which acts as one of the main recoil suppression systems for the gun. Over here, this little port down to the right-hand side is where the brass casing is ejected from after firing. This has also normally got some matting on the deck just to protect the ship effectively.
What is its range?
The range is over 25,000 yards. It can
1,000 yards.
yeah, and can fire over 20 rounds a minute.
So welcome Captain in Goa and India. Please tell me that what is this exercise all about? HMS Richmond had come to India and have some joint exercise with Indian Navy. So can you tell us about it?
Yes, certainly I can. So HMS Richmond is part of a wider carrier strike group. HMS Queen Elizabeth and a multitude of other ships have been on the deployment. We set sail from the United Kingdom on the 1st of May and we've gone all the way through the Mediterranean, across the Indian Ocean, out into the South China Seas, into the Pacific Ocean, and now we're on our way back again. We did a joined up, very quick, but joined up exercise with the Indian Navy on our way out, and now we're on our way back. We're stopping and we're taking part in exercise Konkani, which is a big Indian exercise, and the Royal Navy's privileged to be part of that exercise. HMS Queen Elizabeth, the Dutch ship, the Evertson, and HMS Defender are joining the Indian Navy to be part of the Blue Forces, and HMS Richmond, along with 2 or 3 other Indian ships, are playing the opposition, known as Red Forces. I like playing the opposition, it's always quite good fun. So I'm looking forward to working with my Indian colleagues in exercising over the next 3 days. So it's a 3.5 day exercise.
So how it is good for the Indian and UK government relationship in the combating the common enemies?
Yes, so I think that's a good question. I think partnerships are really important, and the Royal Navy and the Indian Navy have a very strong, close relationship. It was demonstrated on our way through the area where we exercised with the Indian Navy, and again on our way back. And we've spent a lot of time with the Indian Navy, more so than other navies actually, while we've been in this region. And the Royal Navy, along with the United Kingdom, is tilting back to the Indo-Pacific region. We're sort of recommitting time and energy and resource. We're forward deploying a permanent presence in the Indo-Pacific region with HMS Tamar and Spey. Are going to be permanently forward deployed ships in the region. So whilst this is a big exercise and it's exciting, and HMS Queen Elizabeth is here, we want to be a reliable and consistent presence in this area.
As you said, and I was reading also that you have sailed through the Chinese sea water, but I have read that Chinese government were not very much happy about this exercise. So did you feel any obstruction or any type of tension during those sailings?
So I think supporting and reinforcing the United Nations Convention for Law of the Sea is fundamentally what we all subscribe to as the international rules-based community. And what HMS Richmond, alongside the Carrier Strike Group, did was demonstrate our exercising our rights under UNCLOS. And I think it's incredibly important we do that. All really to reaffirm and reassure the seafaring community that the sea lanes of communication are policed and they're safe. It's safe for all mariners of all nations to proceed across the high seas unhindered.
HMS Richmond on present mission has sailed to the Mediterranean, Caribbean and South China Sea and has been part of monitoring violations of United Nations sanctions.
That's absolutely right. We were doing United Nations Security Council resolution operations against the proliferation of nuclear weapons in North Korea, and part of that is an exportation and importation of fuels sanctions. And HMS Richmond took part for a short but important period of part of that wider mission. Again, a real privilege to be taking part in the United Nations mission, and we had some success on that operations. In terms of exercising our rights to navigate upon the high seas unhindered, we absolutely we exercise that right alongside other partner nations who also demonstrate their commitment to UNCLOS. And so yes, HMS Richmond did transit the Taiwan Straits under our privilege of operating on the high seas.
You have a forward deployment of 2 vessels.
That's correct.
What is the strategic objective behind for the British Navy to actually focus on this region, the Indo-Pacific region?
So I think it comes back to what I was talking about, reassuring the seafaring community, making sure that the sea lanes of communication are reassured, they're safe places, and that people have the freedom of choice to navigate the high seas as they see fit. The United Kingdom is leaning towards the Indo-Pacific region, demonstrated by the very presence of HMS Richmond and Queen Elizabeth here in India at the moment. But the United Kingdom didn't need to send their 5th generation aircraft carrier into the Indo-Pacific. We could have sent it to the high north, we could have sent it anywhere in the world, but we chose to send it to Southeast Asia and come and exercise and reassure this part of the world and these communities that UK is reliable and credible, and we're here to be relied upon, I hope.
So can it be concluded that there'll be more such deployments in the coming future?
I sincerely hope so. I think it's a really important policy, part of global Britain. If we don't recognise that the seascape of Southeast Asia, Indo-Pacific, is so important, as I said, demonstrated by the very presence of Queen Elizabeth, but also by HMS Tamar and Spey, the permanent presence of forward deployed vessels out here. I think that shows, hopefully, the UK's commitment to this region.
COVID-19 has been threat for entire world, and the crew of HMS Richmond has also faced challenges due to COVID-19, but thankfully there was no COVID-19 outbreak on board.
It's been non-stop challenges with COVID-19, trying to do an operation, trying to do expeditionary operations at reach on a sustained footing is very difficult without COVID-19. Now you overlay the complexities of logistical support, maintaining all the support networks and nodes that one needs to keep just one ship at reach, but a whole strike group overlaid with COVID-19 has been hugely challenging. I'm really proud of how HMS Richmond, the strike group, but my sailors in particular, my ship's company, my crew, my officers and sailors, how they have demonstrated resilience in the face of COVID-19. We have visited a number of countries where we haven't been given access to sometimes even the jetty. We've arrived in India, we've been made to feel blisteringly welcome. My sailors have gone ashore into the region of Goa and had a wonderful time. And so this is the first time in a long time, actually, in about 3 months, that I've been able to let my sailors step off the ship. And so I'm very grateful to India for allowing that to happen. But to answer your original question, it's been very challenging.
In which countries did you face these sort of restrictions where you weren't even allowed access to the ferry?
So the further east we went, the more nervous, I think, it's fair to say that nations were. And we respect the in-country policies. That's entirely, that's their freedom of choice. We respect that. What we were able to do was engage with those countries through Zoom and through other sort of technical means. I like to think that we had a really powerful impact despite the challenges of COVID-19. The Royal Navy still arrived, has still been able to engage with the communities and hopefully have some form of reassurance to those nations that despite COVID-19 and despite the inability to access their country, we're still here as reliable and committed to their regions as well.
And what is the size of your fleet?
good. I'm just shy of 200 people, so I've got 198 at the moment, and it swaps in and out depending on who's here and who goes, but round about 200.
You have 2 more months of deployment before you head back home. What are the checks and balances that you're keeping that once your crew comes from a shore leave or a shore visit, are they subject to test? Do they have to do mandatory COVID testing before you
Yes,
sail out?
Absolutely. We've got more lateral flow tests on this ship than I have got weapons. I'm joking. We have a lot of lateral flow tests. We've become very versed in managing ourselves. The whole crew are double vaccinated, and we test randomly and we test regularly. And certainly once we've been ashore, we will now test on a more stringent basis. And the longer we spend at sea, the less we start to test. If that makes sense.
Because you're naturally quarantined already.
Well, I'm no scientist, but we haven't had an outbreak of COVID on this ship. So since we've deployed, do we have herd immunity? I don't know.
Can you give us a bit bigger, better contours of what is the Red Force going to do? What is the force objective of the Red Force?
So the design of the exercise is still being worked through. Actually, my warfare officers at the moment are working closely with the Indian Navy to sort of finalise the plans. But essentially, the mission will be the mission success will be ultimately getting a constructive kill on the aircraft. And how we achieve that will be, I'll choose my words carefully, professionally challenging and very rewarding if we can get it right.
And could you please tell us a little bit about the history of HMS Richmond?
Yeah, of course. So HMS Richmond, she's 26 years old now, and she had a whole new refit 3 years ago. So when I joined the ship with the crew, she was like an engineering project, and we've put new engines in, and those engines are going to be part of Type 26 and Type 31, our new frigates. So what we're doing is essentially this is a test platform with its new engines, new propulsion system, new software that controls the new propulsion system. And so I think it's quite a novel thing that we've done here. We've put a new bit of exquisite technology into an older platform because it still works very well. All the weapons and sensors are still completely up to date and modern, and the hull is structurally sound. So what we've done is we've proven this new system. So when we build HMS Glasgow and then all the sister ships that roll out thereafter, we've got a proven system. So that's one thing. But HMS Richmond, as I say, has been around for 26 years. She's got a proud history of transiting around the high seas, and it's a real privilege to come out there.
So as you have said that you have almost 200 persons on board. I was talking to one officer who said that he sometimes lost the count of which day or when is the weekend. So what do you do to get entertained and be active on board?
Yeah, it's a good question. So keeping what we call the moral component of operating capability, which is a very military term of saying keeping everyone sane and safe. We've got a number of things that we do to make sure that we're fit and well. We've got a physical training instructor who gives us circuits 2 to 3 times a day. We've got Wi-Fi access. We've got British Forces Broadcasting Association who beam back some of the British television shows for us. And so that's, along with myriad of other reasons. One of the great things we did was we stopped the ship in the water and turn off the engines, and we jump over the side of the ship. We call it hands to bathe, and it's great fun. It's always very popular. So that's one of many examples of things we do to keep ourselves sane. How do we know what day of the week it is? If we've been doing long patrols and we've been at sea for a long time, sometimes the best way of knowing what day it is knowing when you go in to get your meal and you see what's on the counter, and you go, it's fish and chips, it must be Friday.
Aiming to connect with locals and get regenerated, Team Richmond played football with local boys.
So it's very good. The pitch is really nice AstroTurf you've got, and the players are very good. So it's good. It's tough, as you can see, sweating a lot.
Captain says that joint exercise with Indian Navy will help both Royal Navy and Indian Navy to achieve the goal of peace and stability in the region.
What is the common goal of Royal Navy and Indian Navy which you see that you can achieve in joint exercise and communication?
So I think there's a very specific tactical task that we're going to be set, but more wider than that, and more importantly, I think it's a demonstration of how close we are and how similar we are in the way we operate our ships and the way we think and the way we essentially fight and operate our ships. So I'm really looking forward to this opportunity of working with the Indian Navy again, because we exercise with them on the way through and then we're seeing on the way back as well. So I hope it goes some way to demonstrate our commitment, our reliability, and how much we value our relationship with the Indian Navy.
Thank you, Captain, for having us on board.
My pleasure.
Best of luck.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
This program was sponsored by BPL, Happy Little Things.